All right, boogity boogity boo. I think this thing is working, so let's get it going on. So this is my monthly update to myself here on my certified Cicerone studying adventure. It's been a month, not that much progress that I wanted to have in a month, but some progress. Kind of going to recap on what my reading updates are, talk about my commercial examples and any new beers I've tasted and how that's been going. Some impacts on home brewing and how the things I've been reading are kind of translating into improvements and actually serving beer. And talk about what I have for myself in the coming month. So let's go. Switch screens here on my little OBS. So yeah, let's see. Before I dig into the commercial examples, what have I done? So my reading update, I have been continuing on my the draft beer quality manual. I honestly didn't read that much, but I'm halfway through chapter 4 now, and this has been pretty cool. It talks about all the basic components of different type of draft systems, such as temporary ones, like jockey boxes, which you bring to beer fests or something like that, versus like a small brew pub that might have a direct draw system where the kegs are right behind the wall and the taps are on the other side of the wall, or like a long draw system, which is like a big beer restaurant where the kegs are down the hallway, 50, 100 feet of line, things like that. And it kind of talks about the complexities of that, which is pretty cool to get the insight. And then here's where it was beneficial to me, maintenance tasks and the frequency of those tasks, like cleaning beer lines. Talk about that in a minute because I had a lesson learned after reading just a couple chapters. So that was pretty cool. In addition to that, I did have some more commercial examples. So that's what I have here, my little SharePoint list. I think last month, what I was looking at, out of the 418 styles, I had tried 21 directly, and that meant 326 haven't tried this style yet. And now I've tried 34 directly, so another 13 beers. And what that means is I only have 257 beers left on the list of things to choose from. So it's chipping away pretty quick, actually. But it's been harder to find beers in the store that are on my list. I have one now, which I plan to have it later. Chimay is a Belgian triple here. 5 cents. I've had it before a long time ago, but I'll have it again today and pour it in a white wine glass and take some tasty notes, and that'll add to the list too. But so aside from the reading updates and the commercial example updates, how did that translate into improvements for me? So at home, as a home brewer, I have a Keyser, which is like my own self-service 3-tap box I've built, and I have 3 kegs on tap. And I realized, hey, my beer lines are quite a few years old. And after reading this thing, I'm like, you're supposed to flush your lines every 2 weeks and even change them every year, maybe, I haven't done that, haven't cleaned them. I flush Star Sand through them. But honestly, beer sits in those lines. Sometimes I don't pour for a while. And it's kind of, those lines are not perfect anymore. So I bought new modern beer lines. What did I do? I bought some with the advice of one of my colleagues in the homebrew club, the new modern version of that. So they're called EVA barrier lines, kind of microbial resistant, with duo-tight quick connect fittings. So for me, that was great. Instead of having the hose go into the old school, keg things and then like having to clamp them down with the screwdriver and then crimp the line. These modern ones, you just press the line right in and it holds. And you can also remove it. And it's very modern. It feels like innovation. So I bought 30 feet of new beer lines for the 3 taps, all new connectors for the beer side. I didn't touch the gas side because that's just working. But yeah, so my home brewing hobby is improved just by a couple chapters of reading in this book. So that's really cool. So the home brewing impact is already an improvement. Commercial examples. So which ones have I tried? So the list is alphabetical here. So far, I've tried Allagash White, Anchor Steam, Asahi Super Dry, Anger. So here's the thing, Anger, Breweiss, and Weizenbach. So I really like these beers. So it's really making me aware that, hey, I actually do like wheat beers. Not just all wheat beers, but more like the darker, more rich ones. But these are definitely styles I'm going to pursue now as I go out looking for these. Bell's Porter, obviously porters are awesome, but I specifically like the Bell's Porter a lot. Boulevard Tank 7 Saison, quite solid. I mean, I like Saisons, but this one is actually pretty good, really good. Jai IPA, a lot of these are other styles I've tried months back, right? But yeah, so the list is growing. What I did notice is like some of them, Munchner Gold, like these ones, also like the Hills there's some Munich Hells, and there's some beers that actually don't like those styles. So I'm kind of learning new styles I've never tried before, learning if I like them or don't like them, right? So in my head, as I have a library of beers growing, over time, I'll like kind of sort of force rank them as far as my preference, but also build knowledge about them. And this will be a pretty good exercise to go through. So the one thing I did right here, things that I've noticed, is that my ability to kind of sample a beer and say, oh, let me try to say, okay, you know, how do I classify this beer, the qualitative measurements? Like, okay, you know, the SRM, trying to like verbalize it and describe the beer. Okay, how am I smelling the beer? I'm not really strong at getting good aromas from the beer and describing them. It's hard. Tasting is a little easier. Obviously, you're tasting it. Is it balanced? That's kind of easy. But getting the aroma and trying to say what it's going to be like is kind of hard for me. I'm finding that my palate's not strong. So I'll do my best to strengthen that over time. We'll see. But yeah, so in the next coming month, what do I want to do? Obviously, I want to finish the draft beer quality manual. It shouldn't be that long. I have no excuse. It's not a thick book. See? It's not a thick book. So I want to read this before my next update. I'm going to try to practice my whole sampling and describing skills, which are pretty weak right now. And I have this homebrew batch of beer I've been wanting to brew. I have the recipe all figured out, which is actually Aventinus, where is it? Schneiderweiss Aventinus, one of the other strong wheatish beers that I really liked. It's like a Doppelbock or Weizenbock. So I want to homebrew the beer before I get a month, and I'll do it. So that's my goals, and then I'll be back to give myself another update, hopefully starting another book and getting this list down to under 100 commercial examples. I want to really get down and start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's all I got. It's slow but steady, and here's to having a Chimay 5 Cents after this, and I will be back next time. So thanks for your time if you're watching this, and if anybody stumbles across this and is kind of having a similar journey or interest, shoot me a message on YouTube or whatever. It'd be nice. So have a good one.